Hello, Gemini. Welcome to your March 2019 Lenormand reading. I'm Jade with Yes, Yes, Yes. Welcome back. So we're going to do the Lenormand Spread. We're going to do that Grand Tableau. So 36 cards all going down. If you are new to the channel, welcome. There's lots of different readings here, but today we're doing a different type of oracle. It's developed in Paris by Mademoiselle Lenormand. So, information about all the cards I use is in the box below. If you want to work with me, this is one of the most accurate readings I give, and it's general. This is for sun, moon, and rising. But if you are interested in getting your own reading done, that information, my website is in the box below, so check it out. I want to start with the Mike Dooley deck. I'm going to give you just an overall. These are so sweet, so it's nice to have just a nice extra flavor. So for Gemini, for March, this is a big month, Gemini, lots of changes. How are you feeling? Ooh, you have more options than you realize. All right, Gemini. So do not feel as if you don't have the freedom that you normally do, just because if Mercury is in retrograde and challenging your communication, realize that you still have many ways of communicating, right? So it doesn't have to be just with words. Maybe feel into how to communicate without words. Just a thought. All right, when I accept the love of the universe as my primary teacher, I will always be guided back to the light. Thank you, Gabby Bernstein. Always some amazing insight there. All right, so if you are feeling this reading at any time, please feel free to comment, let me know, or hit that like button. It helps the channel out so much. I really appreciate it. Growing and getting better and better each time. All right, so let's see, Gemini, where does this story begin for Gemini? March 2019. Okay, I also forgot to mention I am dog sitting, and Kenji sometimes likes to be a part of the readings, so hopefully he won't bark, but you may hear him asking to come in, so just know that that's what's going on. I'm going to read the cards as they come out. We have the ship and the stork, the ring, the clover, the coffin, the rider, the tower, and the tree. All right, next line. The whip, there's the masculine, the child, the house, the bear, the mice, there's the feminine, and the birds. The anchor, the fox, the clouds and the moon, the book, the cross, the key, and the lily. The snake, the stars, the letter, the park. Oh, the fish came out backwards. Oh, so did the heart. Fish and heart, all backwards. Okay. The dog and the bouquet. And then the final four, the scythe, the mountain, the path, and the sun. Ooh, I like how we're landing there with the sun. All right, first thing is, this is the masculine line, this is the past, and all this is the future. Feminine, this is your line, all of this is the past, and then this is your future. And let me see. I'd like to count and see if any cards are in their own houses. So just give me a moment. Okay, interesting. So we have the letter in its own house. And the letter is, of course, we're talking about communication. March, we're having Mercury in retrograde, so you will be challenged. What we're talking about is we need to revise the way that we communicate. I want you to consider how you communicate. We even talked about that with the options, right? So perhaps you might have to involve different ways of communicating this month, that different ways than you're used to. You're excellent communicators. Generally speaking, you speak your truth. You have the precise vocabulary and words to describe the way in which you're feeling. Well, I would say the way in which you're thinking. The truth is that the way in which you're feeling is sometimes not in alignment because you're not taking the moment to feel into it. So what I would say here with this letter is, instead of talking first, because you're very good and quippy and you can talk yourself into anything, feel through it first. Revise the way you communicate, okay? All right, let me get a drink and then we'll start talking about it all. Apparently I need to revise the way I communicate. Okay. So here we are. In the past, there was a journey and a new beginning. Something new came in with regards to a commitment. Now, this is coming in for the masculine now. In the feminine, this is your back past. So you had a new journey, a new relationship perhaps. There was some kind of commitment. There might have been a child involved, even like a home. And masculine, this might be coming down for you. And initially, it felt really blessed. It felt really easy. It felt really lucky, right? That's the clover. But something ended. So for the feminine, something ended for you. In the masculine, this is what's going on, and it's pushing towards there's an ending. And that ending had something to do with an authoritative role. This could be even like an Aries, somebody in that role, or a parent, or a boss. So someone is kind of working and making some nervousness underneath it all, okay? Now look, the heart's way far away, so we're not even talking about it being a love thing. So this could be a commitment to a health routine or to higher learning even. It could be relationship, but I also try to see where the heart is, and it looks like that there was a secret about this. Maybe this love affair was secret, and then something came out where somebody got in the middle of it. And what I'm feeling with that getting in the middle of it was that person just made their judgment known, and then things changed. Just like that. One day they changed. Everything was great, and then boom, things change. And it was a burden, okay? It was a burden. There was some nervousness, but something new came in. And so for the feminine, and again, I'm speaking way in the future for the masculine, but for the feminine, something new is coming in. Well, you're right in the midst of it at the moment. It's a new connection to either a higher education, corporation, but what I'm feeling like is something new came forward in terms of like hospitals even. Sometimes that's what those two cards mean together, is that the tree is about health, and then you have this higher institution. So if the feminine is working with a health issue or even a health routine, like, we could be talking about maybe you're going to school for becoming like a physical therapist or a personal trainer. So anything that has to do with a higher education or higher institution and perhaps health, that's what I'm seeing is what the feminine is going through right now. So in the past, there was something that seemed to be really good, and then all of a sudden, it just ended. Somebody got involved. It was just a judgment that was made, and then it just poofed. And then there was a new focus that had to do with either, a health routine or education that has to do with the health. This could also be family, legacy. So maybe this is going back to school in order to continue your family legacy, or going back into the family business. Maybe that's what the feminine is choosing right now. But this is what's going on for the feminine at the moment. Masculines, that's where your feminine's at, but that's also further on down the road. It might be something for you. Let's go to the second line. The masculine is really, he might be very sexually driven, but also taking care of himself, thinking about himself. Even, what this would mean is not necessarily an attentive lover, to, really more concerned about himself. Now, it could also mean that you are you are kind of making yourself pay for that, and kind of beating yourself up because of it. It might also be that you're beating yourself up because you're really you've been thinking about yourself in terms of business and not necessarily thinking about work. But look what's coming up. This could be an actual child. So maybe this is a masculine who has a child and a home, or it could be a masculine, maybe an immature masculine who has a home or who's in the home, perhaps living at home with his family, living at home with his mother and father. Now, I'm going to let that dog in real quick here. Okay. All right. So we've got a really interesting masculine story so far. There's some kind of nervousness when he meets the feminine, or when he thinks about the feminine either. What are you doing? Okay. Wow, sorry. Okay, the dog needed to stay out. So anyway, let's go back here. So there's been a lot of challenges, mental challenges. The masculine's really forcing himself, really beating himself up. He could be immature or younger than this feminine, but there's something about, maybe living at home or having his parents' home. This could also mean the feminine has a parent's home, and there's some nervousness, some anxiety about the parent's home or about this authoritativeness, right? I like that the masculine and feminine are on the same line. It does mean that there's a clear movement towards one or the other. So feminines, you might have met this masculine. We might, this relationship we were talking about in the past. Masculines, it looks like you have a clear path towards your feminine. There are challenging cards in between you two, though. Okay, so you might have to move out of your innocence. Maybe even moving out of your family home, even though that might make you anxious to get to your feminine. And there has to be some type of communication. We did talk about having a different way of communicating. So you might be exercising this different way of communicating later on. It does look like it's supported, and it does look like there might even be some sensual, honest, and maybe even like tantric connections there. So that's possible. Especially with, you got a couple different cards that are physical cards. Let's go to this third line here. Now, again, we're talking about the masculine mostly. He's really anchored in this vision of himself, which for the masculines here, you might be working for yourself. You might be the boss at the company, but you're really trying to climb that ladder. I think that's really where your focus has been. And when you're in relationship, you're not really thinking about long-term relationship. You might have just been thinking about short-term enjoyment, physical, pleasurable kind of enjoyment relationships. But you do have some stability that you've been building with your business, with your career. You're very ingenious. It's right here with you. I do like that. You might even be very well known for this, okay? Now, there is a little bit of confusion when it comes to your emotions, masculines, and it's really about feeling into your intuition. That will lead you to who your love choice will be. So you have a choice. When you're in intuitive mode, you're feeling into your emotions, you can feel nervous or you can feel love, right? You've got two very clear options. Now, what else is coming out is that there is, again, some truth that's been a burden that's coming out. And once that comes out, it's going to relieve you of something, and it's going to actually soften your way of expressing yourself. So we start here talking about work. So we might be ending talking about work, but the way in which you approach your work, again, might have to do with that changing the way in which you communicate this month. So you might find that instead of being so cut and dry, that you might get to a place where you can utilize your intuition and your emotions to have a more supported way of speaking in work situations. Feminine, all of that was your past. Where you're at right now is you're getting to that place of suppleness and sensuality. Maybe even this could be like long, long term. Remember, we were talking about you could be going back to school. It could be a health routine. It could be, dealing with health in general. But it's definitely something that's been underlying. But look, there's the bouquet is also here giving you good energy, even though it's been a challenge to talk about. And to feel perhaps sensual, there's good energy that's up underneath it that's supporting you to move forward. And the tree is a beautiful card of awakening. It's a beautiful card of blessed health, right? So just keep that in mind. Even though you might have had some nervousness, all of that is kind of shifting for you. Let's go to this last line. I love that the snake is back here. Now the snake, there is a direct connection to the snake here with the masculine. Through his work. So if with your notoriety masculine, do be aware that and this might have just happened for you, that there was somebody who was backstabbing or talking badly about you. That does happen when you get to be known, when people start recognizing you, when you get a little bit bigger, right, in the world. Some people might become jealous. So that might have been some place that you came from. Feminine, this is far, far away from you. So this might be your past, but it's far, far away. Now, there's some type of, and this could be social media. Usually these two cards, I look at that. There's some abundance in love that comes from social media, okay? Now, what I'm feeling is that, and this could be, the recent past for the feminine, underlying, and then again, also underlying for the masculine. If the masculine has any aspect of social media in your job, there's going to be some money and some love, some accolades that come from that. It's very successful, okay? Very successful. It might be slow to grow, but it's very successful ultimately. Same thing for the feminine here, okay? So if there's any kind of social media aspects that you can utilize in your business, even though it's further away from you, there's a lot of success and support in that. Again, remember that bouquet is there. Friendship is there. Maybe you get a new friend out of all of this. Maybe you start working with your friends because you need more help, because you get bigger. And then there's a lot of support for it. So this is a really great line here. Something really great to look forward to. And this also for the feminine, you're right here with this friendship card, the loyalty. You're starting to develop loyalty. Maybe this is brand loyalty that you're starting to develop. If you are, again, social media and really building yourself, you're really starting to see things turn your way. Things are getting clearer. Beautiful for you, feminine. Okay, let's look at these final 4 cards. We have the scythe that's cutting through a challenging or a delayed experience or situation, okay? So this is a fast-moving card, this is a slow-moving card. What it's going to do is it's going to give you a choice. So something's coming through you might have been feeling slow, like if we're talking about this social media thing. It might have been feeling slow, but something's coming through to make it fast, and then you're going to be given a choice, and on the other end of that is some success. I like that success, again, is pushing all of that energy upwards, especially towards this outcome here. So for the masculine, there's a lot of changes that you're going through this month, okay? You're developing yourself. Maybe there's a relationship that just comes and goes. Your work is developing. Be aware of anyone who might be, backstabbing or causing harm for you because you're getting to a place of notoriety. You may be to a place where you're about ready to move out. If you do live in your family home, maybe there's just some anxiety about family. Maybe you have your own home, you do have a child or something like that, and you just have some anxiety about a parent or about maybe even just a boss gives you some anxiety. It is a burden, so do make sure that you don't hold on to that. And there's something about, your feminine's on the other side of that. So just try to get past it so that you can make your way to your feminine. And for feminines, what's really going on right now for you is that you have loyalty. You're really starting to see everything starting to develop clearly. You're working with some type of higher institution to bring yourself to a clearer path, a healthier path, one in which, hopefully you would be able to utilize your communication skills in a different way, like what we've been saying. You might feel more sensual, and that, again, beautiful cards here in the end. This blessing, this guidance, like the bouquet is, if you're sick at a hospital, people show up with the bouquet. It's the card that brings blessings. They're a lovely sentimental card, right? So you have some sentimental, beautiful ways of developing here towards the end for both feminine and masculine. You have more options than you realize, Gemini. And this will be a really interesting month because right now you're starting in one place and at the end you're going to be at a totally different place. Feminine, all of this is going to develop for you, which will be really exciting. I love to hear more about it. Please let me know in the comments section. And when I accept the love of the universe as my primary teacher, I will always be guided back to the light. The universe is teaching a lesson this month. And for what I'm feeling is that it's about receiving a new way of communicating, which is something that's very integral to your way of being, Gemini. So see what happens this month. Be open. And for now, I'm going to send you all my love. We'll see you soon.